Fortnite Live. What? Oh, 1 minute, I need to open it. I forgot.
Hey, Michelle.
Yeah, I forgot to open.
I'm looking forward to hearing everyone's presentations. We don't
Yeah.
have a lot of time.
Try now.
Let's get started. Let's see, Sue X signed up.
That's what I've got to do, I've got to open it. What? That's, remember you have to close it down and open it back up.
Well, Axel, we had a presentation ordered.
Here comes RJ.
Someone would be willing. Right here. I'll switch. Okay, Steve, you and your partner go first. Axel, you can go to the office, but make it.
Warning! Warning!
The conference
It's
called
the
Life Skills,
white!
and Axel sure put
It's
this to
the
good use.
white!
How could you make it posters? You're crazy good.
Thanks.
Know what I could use? These
Back.
Oh, yeah. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, because I wasn't looking at the chat, nothing, I was looking at...
This computer password is iHeartTrying.
You see, there are many aspects to a dry cleaning business.
Part of it.
Tagging, treatment, pressing, tailoring, collection, and distribution.
Yeah. It's business class, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so boring.
I bet. Know what could be fun thing?
Yo, let's go, people, bit of Fortnite
I
Live.
was working with tater tots yesterday. You happy with this? I need a favor.
Maybe 3 of the remotes to put something on, gorgeous.
Okay, it's time.
We were
for our
watching,
final
is it Crimes at Shut Britain?
No. Where are you going, Mr. Heck? What's all this?
Hey, bring some camera. I'm actually on my way to my life skills presentation.
He pulled it hard down.
Even if you just jump in a TikTok live for a second, all you have to do is press that double tap that screen once.
And he grabbed my hair from behind and twisted it round, so he wrenched my head back. And then he pushed me over the side of the bar. And he was going, go on, get your legs in, get your legs in. And I could just remember looking up at this mirror. And in
Love
this
you.
mirror, I could see my face and my neck. And the knife sticking right here. He's above me, holding the knife to my throat. saying,
Fortnite Live on a Monday night, let's go.
People have a lot of questions before starting medicated weight loss.
What are the side effects? Is it safe? Will I get the weight back?
Actually,
What?
find the answers from your team of medical experts.
No.
From pharmacists, ensuring you find the right treatment plan that works for you.
To the medical team, that's a tap away if you're experiencing side effects.
And the dietitians, helping you build healthier diet and exercise habits.
Join the 40,000 Juniper members taking a medical approach to weight loss.
What'd you get? This delicious flavored waffle that's only available at Burger King? Yeah. Got it delivered.
Burger King delivers.
On the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz,
Oh, no.
Sky History presents a series of untold stories.
Babe, you want to try and put your bed on?
Amazing romance is the most horrific place that ever existed.
Hey, right.
I'll tell you when I will go.
No. And I was really looking forward to it as well. If it happens, you know what I mean? Like,
15 minutes ago, Stephanie Slater was confronted in a frenzied attack. What she thought was a normal viewing of her property has now turned into a struggle to save her life.
And I said, all right, you've got me. All right, you've got me. Don't harm me, please remember. And that did seem to work.
Stephanie is overpowered and forced downstairs at gunpoint.
I thought he was going to tie me up, and in that house he was going to rape me. Then he tied a noose around my neck. So then I thought, no, he's going to hang me. And then he said, where are your keys? And I said, what keys? He said, the car keys. And I thought, oh, he wants the car. He wants the car. He can have the bloody car. So I said, I left them downstairs on the cabinet in the entrance hall. And so now he's walking me down the stairs one step at a time, holding me by this rope that's at the back of my neck. Because the rope I thought he was going to hang me from, he wants it as a dog leash. So I can't run off. And he's got knife sticking into my back, and he's walking me down the steps, one step at a time to get to the bottom. And I realise it isn't the key he wants, it's me. And so I said, the keys are in my pocket.
Despite Stephanie's cry for help, nobody comes to the rescue.
This was the worst time for me because I'm sitting on the stairs, I can look up in front of me, and I've left the front door open, like you always should. And as I went to push down on my legs to quickly lever myself up to get me out that front door, it was like I didn't have legs from the knees down. It was like they weren't there. I'd gone into shock so much I couldn't even feel my lower legs. By now he's blindfolded me anyway. I'm thinking, that's it. You've just signed your own death warrant.
The petrified and vulnerable estate agent is now forced from the house with a knife to his side and led to the attacker's waiting car. Stephanie now vanishes from Birmingham without a trace. Unbeknown to Stephanie, she is being driven over 70 miles northeast to Newark. Although blindfolded, she tries to take in details of the journey.
Well, the timings, how long she'd stopped. She recalled at one stage of stopping and then she heard trains going by. And how did she have the sun in her face was on this side, that side. So all this information is being pulled together.
Go tap that screen for me, people.
As Stephanie slips further away, concerned colleagues are now aware she hasn't returned to the office.
Kevin and the other girl in the office, Jane, they actually drove past Turnbury Road and my car was still outside, and they commented to each other that, oh, she's been there a long time, hope she's okay.
And as her boss and colleagues now grow increasingly worried, the attacker's car grinds to a halt, and the journey takes an unusual twist.
He stopped the car, we were somewhere quiet away from traffic, and he kind of half sat me up, said no
What's up,
screaming
big man?
happening, and he took down the gag. And he said, I don't know if you realise, but you've been kidnapped. I almost laughed because I thought, well, my family's got no money. You've got the wrong person here, you know. And then he said, I'm going to be asking Shipways for £175,000 for your safe return. And he said, we're going to make a tape to your boss. He said, I've written out the ransom note. He said, but you're going to speak it, so I've got a tape recorder here.
Stephanie has now been kidnapped for 3 hours.
Fucking hell, 3 hours she's been
It's about
kidnapped
to
for.
unfold with her boss, Kevin Watts.
The police first heard about Stephanie's disappearance when a phone call was made to Shipways, which was where Stephanie worked, the man Kevin Watts. Now, they knew that Stephanie had gone to this house to allow a viewing of the claim. There was an indication that there was going to be a letter sent.
As Kevin Watts takes in the enormity of what he's just been told, Stephanie is being driven further from their reach.
Kevin doesn't know what to do. So he phones his boss and tells him what's happened. And his boss sort of says words to the effect that, well, this is bigger than us, Kev. We've got to do something. We've got to tell the police. But you tell them quietly what's happened. Tell them they're not supposed to know. And we'll do all this covertly. Well, within 5 minutes of his phone call, there were uniformed officers at Turnbury Road and Shipways. The kidnapper could still be watching the house. It could be watching here. He sees police everywhere. She's dead.
Okay, gorgeous.
Police now take on board the series.
Yeah, gorgeous, I've got you where I want to be.
All the while, her ordeal deepens. The kidnapper has just pulled in to a quiet neighbour.
He turned off the engine and he said something like, well, do you want a cup of tea and a ham sandwich? And I thought, what? You've done all this to me. I'm cut, bleeding and bruised and you've injured me. And now you're offering me a bloody picnic.
Stephanie's colleagues and police have no idea of her whereabouts. As officers search the property she vanished from, they find some alarming clues.
There had been a struggle in the bathroom. There was evidence of a small amount of blood. There was also evidence that then out the back through the French window into the garage. Stephanie nowhere to be found. The vehicle was there. The scenes of the struggle. And it was looking at the stage.
this game. We'll go again. Don't forget, double tap that screen over on TikTok. Let's get the lights going up for me, people. All it takes is double tap of the screen.
Stephanie's gaffer, Kevin Watts. Oh, yes, right away. I said, what's the problem? What's the trouble? And I said, well, Stephanie went to her house this morning and we haven't seen her since. She disappeared dinner time. You actually think the worst. Got rid of that. And there's all different people.
It is now 6 p.m. As Stephanie's parents take in the devastating news, the kidnapper pulls in to their final destination.
I'll try and order some more Red Bull, babe, or not.
But anybody's going to hear you out here.
There you go, then.
Shuffled me across like a grand driveway.
Yeah.
And I heard him pull open a very heavy
Oh, it was close.
metal door.
That much?
Through on cobblestones. I can remember them being under my feet.
Don't know, that's what he gave
And
me.
now we're inside the workshop.
I'm not going to say
And he took me through to the back.
No, I'm just saying that's what he gave me, babe.
Sat me on a chair. And tied me with thick rope to the chair. I can remember thinking, this is it. You're going to die in here.
Is that fireworks I can hear, babe? No wonder he's barking. Nothing special about January 13th, do you know what I mean? Why are they setting fireworks off?
The Mayan calendar. Join me as we explore the facts behind some of history's greatest leaps of faith. Our novels with Dennis Wade. Available now on Science Stream.
You gotta see where I'm coming from, gorgeous.
Stephanie Slater has been kidnapped from an empty property. Blindfold and held at knife point, she's been driven over 70 miles
Yeah.
from her hometown, Birmingham. Her colleagues are aware of her disappearance after a terrifying phone call from her attacker. Police have now scrambled to the property to find her blood in the bath. Stephanie has now been missing for over 7 hours.
Imagine that, babe.
In the first instance, it was very, very low key.
That's what I'm just thinking.
At the police station, that was more or less given to us as the joint inquiry. I had officers down from West Yorkshire working with the West Midlands officers.
Over 2 hours from home, an exhausted Stephanie has been dragged into a filthy workshop. Her attacker has rendered her defenseless, and Stephanie is becoming more confused by his behavior.
He went behind me. He was touching my hair, pulling his hands through it. And you just see in your mind horror stories and horror films over and over again where someone's behind you, stroking your hair, and then suddenly there's an axe coming down on top of you or something. That's what was going through my mind. Why is he doing that? It was already going out. And he said, right, take your clothes off, I've got clothes for you to wear. And I thought something. You're not taking my modesty as well. And I felt confused. What's that to take? And he said, I'm not having this. Take your clothes off. You're sitting there blindfolded and you can't see anything. And all you can hear is a footstep here, there. And when you hear the footstep return, he was there behind you. And suddenly he was here, right next to me. And he said, she was an estate agent. She was like me. She let me see things as I don't know what was behind her. But if he was trying to find me, he was doing a damn good job.
Stephanie has now been missing for 9 hours. An apparent victim of kidnapping terror, she has limited knowledge of what lies ahead. Just as she is led to believe she's being held for ransom, her ordeal becomes even more horrific.
So in the end, he threatened me again with an arrest. He took my hands by the handcuff chain in between, and with one of his hands he pulled my hands above my head, and with his other hand he said, right, you line back. And with his other hand he pushed to my chest, and he pushed me back hard onto the mattress. And then he crawled on top of me at an angle, and he proceeded to rape me. And he did me. It was the worst. It was the bites in my face and my neck, my chest, my shoulder. Really big. I thought, no, you know what? I'm not going to scream. I'm not going to shout out. You're not going to get off on this. If you're going to kill me, then so be it, but you're not going to go out in any glory. And then he got off in silence. He wiped me down all over with a damp cloth. And then he gave me men's clothes to wear. And he said, and that won't happen
this one
again.
before.
Not very much.
We've seen them all, babe.
And this changed me,
What?
the rape. It changed me completely because I
We have
wasn't
nothing else to
scared
watch,
anymore.
gorgeous.
I wasn't frightened anymore because I felt so dead
So I just thought we'd
inside.
throw it on, baby.
And as a woman, it's kind of
If you don't want to, find something else to watch, but it's the only thing I could think of the other day when we were looking
Baby.
at something.
destructive because you know what?
May
I
I
really
use your
didn't
spins?
care anymore.
Yeah, of course, you can, section.
As the threat to Stephanie's life increases, police are unaware of dealing with a violent rapist. Back in Birmingham, they pull in resources from West Yorkshire from officers working on a similar case.
This must have been horrible for that poor estate agent now.
Package sent to shipways as quickly as possible.
The police looked through the sorting office that night to try and sort of get a little bit of a march on the kidnapper. If they could get the letter a little bit earlier, they might be able to have more time to make decisions.
Stephanie's attacker has carefully constructed a makeshift coffin inside a bin, indicating this is a man who has calculated his attack.
Inside a bin was that?
He now reminds her of the chilling danger she is facing.
I
Well,
didn't
yeah,
care if
sure,
my
sure.
liver died anymore. I felt nothing. And so when he said to me, I hope you're not claustrophobic, I shrugged my shoulders and I said no. And he said, that's good. She goes in a box. Within a box.
In Birmingham, police are desperate to uncover the package
Me?
sent to Stephanie's boss.
And what?
It could hold vital
I
clues
don't.
to her whereabouts. Eventually, they uncover it.
Because I ran out, remember?
Within that first letter, the rounds was a tape.
Hope everyone's having a good evening.
Recorded Stephanie's voice, obviously to give it authenticity, and some demands in the letter.
He found them to decide there was a type in the post in Birmingham, and then got down the sort of Spanish type, and then moved it back and then applied it to Mexican art.
Daily lives is a follow, so you get notified.
This is Stephanie Slater, the time is 11:45. I can assure you I'm okay and unharmed. Providing these instructions are carried out, I will be released on Friday the 31st of January. The next Wednesday you will be holding a survey.
As Stephanie's voice rings out to those closest to her, she has no idea if the tape has even been sent. The threat to her life is increasing by the minute, and now the kidnapper inflicts more terror.
He said you've got to get into it like a sleeping bag. So I get halfway down, I can't get any further. It's too narrow, it's too tight. And I told him this, and he said, that's rubbish. He said, you've got to go in there. I got in there earlier and I tried it out. He said, it's easy. Push yourself in, get there, you've got to go in, he said. No two ways about it. Then he told me there were boulders above the bar, above my head, and if I pulled on them, they would down and crash me to death. And then my hands were pulled above my head to the left of me, and via the handcuff chain they were attached to a metal bar that went across the top of the box. So I'm in a corkscrew kind of position, totally twisted. My back was in terrible, terrible agony. And now he's pushing something very sharp up my right trouser leg. He said, can you feel that? And I said, that is really hurting. And he said, good, it's supposed to, those are electrodes. You move around in that box, no electric heat, I'll kill you instantly.
Stephanie now lies in grave danger. One slight move will cost her her life. As police try to decipher the ransom note, they call for an immediate media blackout. They can't risk agitating the kidnapper. Another concern is some horrifying similarities in the ransom to a crime West Yorkshire officers are also trying to solve.
Commander Julie Dark convicted of extortion in British Rail. There was a July 91 and extortion in October. We received a demand letter for in the Julie Dark case. The phraseology used in the letters was similar. There were similar misspellings of words in the letters. So we were able to put this sort of circumstantial case together that this could well be the same man.
I was always in fear for my life, and I thought, yes, he could get the money and he could kill me.
Hide what you can, then hide yourself. The true story of Vera Atkins' search for the lost women spies starts Tuesday at 9 on Sky History.
25-year-old estate agent Stephanie Slater has been kidnapped and brutally raped at the hands of a vicious attacker. She has now been forced to lie in a makeshift coffin. If she moves, she dies. Meanwhile, police officers investigate a ransom demand and chillingly linked her attacker to a murder 6 months previously. Their next move is crucial, as Stephanie's life hangs in the balance.
The kidnapper wanted Kevin Watts to be the carrier. There's obviously very high-level decisions to make, because if, as we suspected at that time, this man had also committed a murder in the past, we potentially have got a situation where one, Stephanie's life was in grave danger, and also potentially Kevin Watts.
The police have to carefully decide their next move. One wrong decision will end Stephanie's life. Pressure mounts as the hours go by. They have no leads on her whereabouts. Meanwhile, she has only just survived the night.
I was going into hypothermia, and he said don't pull on the metal bar because of the boulders. So as my arms are getting numb, they're getting heavy, and I can't feel what they're doing, whether they're pulling on the bar or whatever, and I can still remember to this day, lying in the box, and I got my thumb on my chin like that, so I'm trying to hold it up. But then I just couldn't feel anything, my whole body went numb, and then I was shivering, and then I dropped, my body kind of dropped, and again I pulled on the bar, but the boulders stayed there. But as the night wore on, to be honest with you, I didn't really care if that bar came down. I didn't want to be there for him in the morning. And then I saw a white light in the corner of the box. And I said to myself quite openly, oh right, now you're losing your mind. You're blindfolded in a black box, and now you're seeing a light. And inside that light was the face of Christ. As I say, I don't go to church, I'm not religious, and I felt quite privileged to have seen this. And I just felt at ease all of a sudden about...
Here comes Monster Man.
I thought I died. I'd seen people like so.
As each hour slowly ticks by, Stephanie bears the brunt of the kidnapper's strange behavior. His mind games are almost too much to bear.
He did come back not long after. I honestly think to this day he was really shocked that how close to death.
Double tap that screen for me, people. It's got the lights going off.
Probably was. And he had to half carry me to a chair. And he sat me on the chair and he gave me a cup of tea. He must have been watching me. He said, you can't move your arms at all. And I was frozen in that box last night. And then the tea was abruptly taken away from me. And I thought, oh, I've complained. I've said something. You are treading on eggshells all the time. And then I didn't know where he was. I couldn't sense him. I couldn't hear that footstep or any movement. He was down on his hands and knees. And he takes my left arm and he rubs it hard. So there you go, is that better? Can you feel that now? Is that better? Is that getting warmer? How about this one? Moves round. That one. How's that arm? As surreal as this was, and it was very strange.
Baby son shouting you.
Stage. Initially I thought, maybe, just maybe, there's a spark of humanity. Maybe it's something worth working on.
But police already fear they are now dealing with a man who has killed before, and he could strike again. After the kidnapper's first contact, officers now decide to plan devices should he call again.
And there's only me can answer the phone. If you're going to call me, because I've got a call I want to sign. When the phone rings, every time, told her we can pick the receiver up. She pressed one button, she got to the trigger, and then she took the one button.
Also, the game of instructions was able to Stephanie's parents. They made one move. They made the same shot, but not remember the detail.
And other elements are now firmly in place. Officers, colleagues and family are poised for the kidnapper's next move.
When there's many people involved in kidnapping such as this, one of them with family liaison officers who work with investigators with Stephanie's parents.
And I sure we get. And I kept us up to point.
So we have to be informed and also protect and also be aware
Sunday afternoon, 5 days into the ordeal, the kidnapper surfaces again.
It might be having a sandwich or something. And the phone went about 2 o'clock. Picked it up. And he was stepping away on the phone. But it was a tape.
Well, it's I have now sent a message to you, just to let you know I'm all right and no harmed. I hear that West Bromwich Albion lost yesterday to Swansea, 3-2.
I looked at Ellie and I said, that's Stephanie tonight.
I want you to know I love you. I am not to say too much, but whatever the outcome, I'll always love you. Look after the cat for me.
Is she alright?
Two phone calls, a tape and a ransom note. The police understand this man is to be taken seriously. There is now increasing pressure placed on Kevin Watts. Officers start to prepare him for what would be the hardest task of his life.
you have to be sort of trained by time. Ask if the voice killer, if he gets to the phone box, ask the question twice, try and buy some time.
As police gear up for a major operation,
Bastard!
is being pulled through a psychological nightmare. Her attacker switches between compassion and inflicting panic, reminding her she is at the mercy of a hardened criminal.
And I said something and I made him laugh. And after he
You've got
finished
my phone,
laughing,
haven't
he
you?
said, I'm going to get rid of that now, aren't I? And I said, what's that? Get rid of what? What are you talking about?
I can see it, it's on the other side of your dressing gown.
I've got a bin to take you down.
Yeah, please.
And that kind of scratched the surface, and I could feel all this emotion and this fear and everything. And I reached out for him, and I was saying, oh, where are you, Bob?
Yeah, you're
Where
awake.
are you, Bob? Oh, you're not going to kill me, are you? Not now, but, and I was sort of, but I couldn't really breathe, I couldn't talk because I was in so much fear, and I was crying, the blindfold was soaking wet, and I was reaching for him like a child would reach for a parent.
Tuesday. Stephanie disappeared a week ago. Her whereabouts unknown. And all the police have are a number of obscure demands from their kidnapper. Now, he makes contact again.
Hello? Got the money? Who's this, please? Never mind. Have you got the money? And tomorrow?
For tomorrow?
Yeah. Have you got it?
I'm getting it, yeah.
When the instructions came into Kevin once, that was when it was all systems go.
As officers make sense of the latest message, Stephanie's disappearance is now taking its toll on those closest to her.
You okay? Yeah, I'm trying to remember how I checked this again. Trying to check if we're going to get it or not. I can't remember how you do it. I can't remember to save my life what you told me to go on the other day, sent it.
Unaware her mother is in such turmoil, is trying hard to stay positive. So far,
What?
she has contained fear. This man has fed and clothed her for 7 days. She hangs on his word that she will be released. Now, she hears noises in the workshop once more.
Are we actually getting one, yeah? Oh, Jesus Christ.
We bought him a mattress and we also later on bought him a second.
At least we're getting one, babe.
Two now. I slept on one.
So when does it go in?
He used to sleep on the other. I've got milk and Kit Kats and crisps and things. I'm putting them down the middle like a barrier. Like, stay away from me, don't touch me sort of thing. Later on that evening, he said to me, if I was to ask you to do what happened on the first night, what would you say? He was referring to the rape. And I said, I'd ask you not to ask that of me, because I don't want to. And he said, that's all right, I just thought I'd ask. Through those 8 days, somehow I've managed to get some respect from him. From him. It was a tremendous help to get over what I've done.
Each day for Stephanie has been...
Yeah, it's got to be one of the hardest things a poor girl to get over, do you know what I mean? Like,
has made her ordeal part of his daily routine.
It seems totally incredible to me now that I was at the back of the workshop in the coffin in the box. And he opens up his workshop to me.
After each period of running cold weather, no payment within 14 working days.
right, I don't know how it works, gorgeous, that's why I thought that.
And I'm at the back, all chained up and locked away, imprisoned.
When you finish, I'll show
Her
you
captor
what you have
runs a
to
small
do.
tool repairing shop.
So I was trying to search it all the other night,
Each day he opens up to regular customers.
and I couldn't work out in the slightest how you said do it. Sat there like, you fucking idiot, Luke, remember how to do it.
I think, okay.
I was actually calling myself an idiot, babe.
Is that what
Yeah.
I'm supposed to do? Do I shout for help? But what if he
I
was...
couldn't remember how to do it. I was like, you fucking idiot, Luke, remember.
He was a man of very few words.
I was like,
but he liked
sat there
talk
thinking to
me.
myself, your fucking wife showed you, remember how to do it, you fucking idiot.
It was weird, it was surreal, because I knew in the back of my head that my life was on the line here. And one wrong move, and that's it. But the times that he would give me something to eat or drink or...
RJ's in the living room with Shannon, baby.
It was so strange.
I didn't know if you knew or not, because she's just shouted, LJ.
You know, it's like the table's really turning, but it was because I was compliant. It was because I didn't give him any reason.
I heard her shouting, that's how I knew he was in there, gorgeous.
Meanwhile, the pressure is mounting on Stephanie's employer. Kevin Watts has the horrifying responsibility of meeting the kidnapper's demands. The whole
What do you mean?
operation lies on his shoulders. Neither he nor Stephanie make them out of this.
Ah,
He was happy
thank
to
you,
do it.
gorgeous.
I don't know whether he realised until afterwards that the potential involved. And I've been speaking with him and his wife afterwards. You know, there were a few tears shed that morning when he knew when he left home that you know, it depended on him possibly that Stephanie came back alive.
As Stephanie anxiously waits to see how the day unfolds, her attacker is leading her boss and the police through his carefully constructed game plan.
What's he doing, mummy?
His first one was
I just fucking killed myself.
I was told to go to the kiosk.
What a dickhead. I know. Apparently they're on the way, baby.
He then received the message to go to another kiosk. Then he's got his instructions to go to the telephone box and then go calling
LJ, bedtime, please.
in Sheffield.
As Kevin follows his instructions and heads over the Pennines, he travels deeper into the unknown. The kidnapper wants to shake the police should they be involved, and so far, it's working.
That night, the fog came down. This really upset. That meant Kevin Watts was now behind Sheffield.
That might
Being
take
given
a bit
time
more.
when he had to
Yeah,
leave.
that's perfect, baby. Anyone in my TikTok live, just double check the screen, that's all I ask. Thank you. Hi, Lauren 1987. How are you?
Down this lane nearby. And as it gets to the entrance to the lane, you see the sign shipwrecks directing you.
Hello. How are you? You're good? Good. Got to hear it. How's your day been?
Behind schedule. No clue of his whereabouts, and alone with the kidnapper's ransom. The attacker could pounce at any moment.
He's now isolated. He's in a strange place, down a narrow
Good. Got to hear it.
highly vulnerable. He gets halfway down the lane, a big cone in the middle of the lane, and tells him is to swap the money from one bank to another.
The kidnapper now lies in wait as Kevin follows his final instructions. He lays the money on a wall, unaware there is a 60-foot drop right on the other side. As soon as Kevin is out of earshot, the attacker pounces on his ransom.
Sam's 60 feet below the bridge, attached to the wooden tray.
Fucking hell, wow.
The tray is stood on its side. Sam's yanks on the fishing line down towards the bottom. He's on a moped. He's travelling there. He's on his moped. Puts the money into the back.
I jumped out my fucking skin.
Meanwhile, over 50 miles
Oh,
away,
Jesus Christ.
Stephanie now thinks she has been left to die.
That was one hell of a long day. We were talking from 8 o'clock in the morning until 11:30 at night. That's how long I was in there. And you can imagine the panic I was in when he said, I'll be back at 9:30, and he wasn't. Because then you think he's got the money and it's gone.
The kidnapper has successfully fled with £175,000, and the police have no trace on him. Kevin has made the drop, but he has no idea if the attacker now has the money, or if Stephanie is dead or alive.
I thought he'd abandoned me and gone. I tried to commit suicide that night by suffocation because I was so frightened. I just put the blankets that he'd given me in the box in my mouth and over my face and pushed my face into the side of the house.
Fuck's sake, man. Yeah, no problem. Thank you for coming in.
Stephanie hears a faint noise. Although behind schedule, her kidnapper has returned.
I shouted at him, is that you? Where have you been? Have you got the money? Please, God, get me out of here. After a few minutes of that, he actually came over to the box and opened it and out to my quarters, which was on.
Yeah.
There had been something on my life, also frightened.
Okay, just checking.
Stephanie attacker, true to his word, prepares her for the journey home. All the while, police, colleagues and family have no
Got
idea
you shot.
she's in
That wasn't funny. I jumped out my fucking skin.
He said, I've decided that I'm going to take you home.
I know I did. They jumped out
He
chair.
said, because I don't want anything
That was funny.
bad to happen to you. He said I was going to give you a knife and put you in a phone box so you could call the police. The knife to protect yourself if anybody came at you. He said, so to make sure that you get home safe, I'm taking you
Yeah.
home.
Try to be quiet and saying where it is. I know, I've seen it, baby.
8 days after
It's
their
bedtime,
disappearance,
Mr. Man.
Stephanie Slater arrives on her doorstep, alone.
He ran.
I'm
He
ringing,
ran.
I'm knocking the knock at the doors and answered for
Luke
ages.
Jr.
The door started to bang, you see.
Luke
He said,
Jr.
"Believe it." He could get out the door, so.
LJ.
And then when it was opened, there was a young
Right,
blonde
yeah.
man
Oh shit.
stood there on the threshold of the door, looking down at me. He was Mum and Dad's liaison officer. He didn't recognise me.
There she was down in front of me.
And he reached out over him and he grabbed hold of my top of my coat and pulled me up into the porch.
Stefan, you were all witnessed it. Said you're all right, but how admirable is that?
As Stephanie and her family
Thank
faced
you.
the country's media glare and taken the enormity of her ordeal, police launched a nationwide hunt to find her kidnapper. A man they believe has also killed 18-year-old Julie Dart and attempted to defraud British Rail, Michael Sam.
Hey, bedtime, son?
We've got information from witnesses, we've got an artist's impression, we've got witnesses who said he was well served at the house, so all these pieces can put together.
Three weeks after Stephanie's abduction, police appeal for her kidnapper on BBC's Crime Watch.
In a few minutes, you'll hear the voice of the man who kidnapped Stephanie Slater.
You want to give you one password? If you tell me a word, I'll send it to your Facebook as soon as you are out.
Yes. Could I have a mother and father's Christian names, please?
Lady called Susan Oaks, I'm interested in this. She'd been following some of the information out and started to develop this idea that might be I dispatched the team off. He wasn't in, his wife Tina was there. He said he wouldn't be back till 5 o'clock. No, it's not urgent. We watched Crime Watch last night. He said that he might be getting a visit. That I had a nearly 10-minute drive there from Sutton Trent to the Swan and Salmon Yard, where Sam's workshop was. And when I walked through the door, they knew this was gold.
Sounds.
Everything that Stephanie said about this place, she'd heard the sound of a dial on the old telephone, the ting of a microphone, almost immediately confessed to the kidnapping.
No, where was I keeping it? Yeah.
Guilty of blackmail,
Can't get my fucking words out.
murdering Julie Dart, and Stephanie's kidnapping and imprisonment.
Sam's a very sad individual. He's dyslexic. That was in part his downfall and his family states Sam to track him down. He's
You okay,
very
sexy?
bright man, very arrogant, very self-centered.
13-year-old boy, still not home, babe.
For years,
Yeah.
50-year-old Sam's...
He has links to witness, but they only posted 6 minutes ago that they're still looking for him.
Crime had been for car theft. An illness
Then
led
he
to
had
Sam's
flags
losing a
saying that
leg,
you love somebody
and some
before
said
you
his
leave.
attitude changed. Indeed, his split personality was a major part of his game plan.
He also tried to frighten me with talk that he had a mate who was in this with him. That his mate was a nasty piece of work, it was a good job, but he wasn't looking after me.
It was the other man who wanted to kill Stephanie. It was the other man who murdered Julie Dart. And it was the other man who actually tried to extort £200,000 out of British Rail with this brilliant idea that the other man had stolen off him. The other man is an illusion created by Sam's.
Stephanie has moved on with her life and fought hard to get over her ordeal. Her mental strength and resilience is testament to how she survived those horrifying 8 days. Her continued courage and determination not to be beaten is an inspiration.
Everything changed from the day she went missing. Boy, he did right back. Well, Steph didn't stick him before. Now, of course, there was no need to. I could boy him all the time. So I ain't got a lot of compassion for him at all. I couldn't care less what happened to him, really. You know, he can rot. He can rot.
Yes, he was calculating. Yes, he did plan it to a certain extent. But he was no master criminal. At the end of it, he was just lucky. Analysing the decades. world, he doesn't matter.
People have a lot of questions before starting medicated weight loss.
What are the side effects? Is it safe? Will I gain the weight back?
At Juniper, find the answers from your team of medical experts.
From pharmacists, ensuring you find the right treatment plan that works for you.
To the medical team, that's a tap away if you're experiencing side effects.
And the dietitians, helping you build healthier diet and exercise habits.
Join the 40,000 Juniper members taking a medical approach to weight loss.
It's been said that seeing is believing. So it makes sense that when some of life's biggest questions are believed to have left behind physical clues, we want to go see for ourselves. The Holy Grail, the founding,
Pardon me,
the Mayan calendar. Join me as we explore the facts behind some of history's greatest leaps of faith. Holy Novels with Dennis Wade. Available now on Sky History.
Dr. Lynn Russell and her two daughters, Josie and Megan, were victims of a vicious hammer attack in 1996. 3 people left for dead in the picturesque countryside of Kent. The brutality of the crime left a community reeling, and the senseless murders stunned the nation, making this a crime that shook Britain.
Kent police described the investigation as one of the most difficult that they'd ever faced.
I can just remember the world sort of coming to an end and we all just standing there saying, no, you know, this can't be happening.
They were tied up and beaten repeatedly around the head with a hammer.
This kind of pristine place where you once felt really safe, you just didn't anymore.
Police say they have no motive for the violence and few leads to go on.
I knew the moment I saw this policeman coming back into the house, his body language, the look on his face, that something terrible was wrong.
fuck off you cunt.
Lynn, Megan and Josie Russell were violently attacked by a stranger whilst walking home from school. In an unprovoked and friendly assault, the girls stood little chance. The killer evaded justice for a year. Eventually, a local psychiatric patient, Michael Stone, was arrested and charged with murder. A small consolation for the family and friends of the girls lost in this tragedy.
I look back at the photographs, all the flowers and the pets and the ponies and the little cottage, and it was a very lovely existence. Megan was never quite as outgoing or full of herself as Josie. Josie was in a way, the leader, the oldest child. Megan was quieter.
I can just remember 2 very bubbly little girls with a single mum and dad.
Lynn would be at home looking after the home and the animals. She did all her own work around the house, with gardening, decorating, knocking down a wall with a sledgehammer. If she wanted to get something done, she could do it.
I remember when I used to walk back to Stacey and then Megan, I think they were quite laid back and then everyone would look at us because I remember we were trying to get a bad egg or something and we'd take it home.
Mr. Osborne, do you believe Frankie is?
Yeah, it was nice just walking home and you know, the fields, things that was pretty.
We were very settled in that little thing, moving potentially to a larger place. Our own field, we didn't have field written. But it sounds, and it was quite idyllic.
The attack on the Russells will be told through the eyes of those closest to the tragedy.
Will you bring me in a drink before you come out? Oh, you already are.
A beautiful summer's morning in Chillenden, Kent.
Don't read
The
them,
Russell
mate.
family rise and plan for a busy day, juggling work and school activities. They're beginning to find routine after moving to Kent from Wales just months previously.
Although I'd been trying to get a full-time job locally in North Wales, it hadn't worked out. We thought, for the sake of being together for the family, we had to do this on this. We
Not a clue,
up
baby.
sticks and moved to Kent. Okay, no mountains, but it's a very pretty, it's a beautiful place. There I remember it being very nice to be able to sit even outside in early morning before we went to work or school and have breakfast even on the little patio outside with the cats around and the dogs.
Fuck's
The
sake!
Russell house winds into action with the usual family breakfast and plans for the day ahead.
That day I took the children into work myself. That was one of the days in which I did deliver them to school. I remember about the last few minutes with Lynn was the normal morning rushing off to school,
Yeah, of course.
saying goodbye, the sunlight there and the garden, the flowers, and Lynn going off and me thinking, well, she'll be immediately getting stuck into the gardening or the housework.
Sean drives the short journey to the local primary school to drop his two daughters before heading to work.
I've got this vision, this image in my mind of them in their little blue gingham dresses with their satchels. They went to a swimming gala that day, I do remember that. So they may have had a couple of towels there as well, sort of draped over the satchel. So that's the last I saw as they went into school that day.
So I can have baby crying. Yeah.
As Sean settles into work, Lynn tends to
It'll just be
chores
me.
around the cottage, and Josie and Megan start their daily lessons, unaware that in a few hours' time their lives will change forever.
I was Josie's teacher at Goodnestone Church Primary School. She was really bubbly, she was lively, she had lots of interests. A really very highly motivated child.
I first met Josie at school when we were at school together. She and Megan were, the new children at school, and my friend and I, we kind of befriended her really. I remember all the children were going to a field to play, and Jasmine and her friends and I stayed back with Josie, and I think they made like necklaces.
I died. He got the sword before me. Frick.
As the school day draws to a close, Sean nips out to the streets of Canterbury to run some errands.
To check on my bicycle, which has been fixed, get some cash, books that the girls had taken out from the Canterbury City Library. I returned them on their behalf.
Meanwhile, Josie and Megan are just finishing a swimming gala as their mother Lynn makes the short, picturesque walk through the country lanes to pick them up from school.
Guess you only had the medium one section.
Yeah.
Kind of not. Kind of not, yeah.
Lynn.
Do you know what I mean?
Because
If I'd done the small ones.
she told me they were going to the swimming gala, and that she would then take them to Brownies. Lynn was going to take them along and be given a lift by a local friend. So when I did go home about 7 o'clock and they weren't there, I wasn't too worried. I just started making the supper for when they were due to come home.
As Sean prepares the family evening meal,
That's so me, babe. I know why I run out of storage on my phone. Because I screenshot stuff and never look at it again and then wonder why I've got no storage.
Grace, she rang and said that she called round at 5 o'clock to take them to Brownies and they weren't there. The house was closed up and there was no sign of them. At that point I started to become a bit concerned.
For the last half hour, Sean has presumed his family to be at Brownie's, as planned that morning. Now, as evening sets in, he starts to panic.
I didn't spend long on the phone with Liz. I do remember then starting to just try and work out where they might be.
God, you
My mum and I
motherfucker.
were picking her up and taking her to Brownies. And there was no one there. And obviously there wasn't no mobiles at that time. I wasn't too worried at the time. But when I was picked up from Brownies, Mum said that they still went back.
By the time Liz Gregson calls again, Sean is now frantic.
I believe it was around that time, 9 o'clock, that I said, right, actually, I better start making more of an effort to check on what's going on. And I rang the police station. This is now only 2 hours after the time when we expected that I'd be home, maybe they would be home from Brownies. Police said no, we have no reports of accidents. I suddenly thought, well, if I go and have a look myself. I drove the route along the pathway, the little country lane, between our home and the school that Lynn and the girls would walk.
You're on me going, babe, one of the kids ain't come home. I'd be like, what? I'd be out straight away looking. Which I think you know anyway.
I actually also rang the vet in case they'd taken Lucy to the vet for some reason.
Is that OJ?
They hadn't called, you know.
Sounded like Scarlett there.
Looking after the dog if he got run over or hurt. No joy there. Then I started ringing hospitals, mentioning the name, Russell. Have you had anybody brought in? You know, I was starting to get seriously worried by this time.
First place I fucking rings the hospital.
There might have been an accident.
Don't know about you, Sexy.
So she'd rushed.
First place you'd ring the hospital.
Sean now turns to the police once more. His family has now been missing for over 5 hours.
So I'd be out looking for you, do you know what I mean? Like,
they're not back. This is not right. There can't be a woman and children wandering around the countryside at this time of night without something being desperately wrong. Unbeknown to me, the police had taken my first call very early on, very seriously. They'd already started the ball rolling.
how come you muted them and then muted them again?
Get a search team together, dog unit, all that sort of thing without me.
Alright, I was just confused, babe. Confused me.
Liz and John Gregson rushed to Sean's side as a team of police officers.
Right. Just confused me, baby,
I was
because
aware of quite a commotion
spent
outside with a van full of officers arriving at midnight. This dog unit turning up, and then basically fanning
I've not
off into
spent
the
nothing.
countryside. They'd come over to the house.
And no one sent me money.
Over by 11 o'clock in the
I
evening,
wish.
who were interviewing me by that stage.
Fucking
Just
bros.
trying to get information on what do they look like, what are their descriptions, if we're going to put out a notice. Also the inevitable questions about, you know, how's your marriage doing? Have you
I'm
had
not sending no one money. Fuck that.
Is there any reason that she might have taken the children, sort of thing, you know, which of course is rubbish, but you accept that they have a job to do, so you answer.
Yeah, they have to investigate it, don't they?
Sean is instructed to wait at the family home, while
I
officers
couldn't wait.
search surrounding countryside. Restless and now stricken with panic, he anxiously waits for some news.
They called Liz and John Gregson outside, and one of the two police officers had explained to them what was happening, and then the other guy came back in. And I knew the moment I saw this policeman coming back into the house, his body language, the look on his face, that something terrible was wrong.
People have a lot of questions before starting medicated weight loss.
And the side effects? Is it safe?
Will I gain the weight back? At Juniper, find the answers from your team of medical experts.
From pharmacists, ensuring you find...
There's no way I'm fucking waiting round on drugs.
Had been killed.
I'll be one of the first people I'm fucking looking for my family.
It took them only a matter of minutes because only a few hundred metres from the house along this lane was where the family were found, lying in the bushes there beside the road, the very same track that I'd driven up just a couple of hours before. The most that they said was something like, there seems to be suspicious circumstances.
They found the scene, which of course was totally horrific to them, and it consisted of what the initial Italian police officer thought were 3 dead people and a dead dog.
What would you do?
Vaguely, just sort of going into an autopilot, numb feeling of half within, half here, half not here.
You ready to fall off when it checks you?
Questions about where were they? Why has this happened? What has happened? They said, we're going to need to take you over to the nearby police station at Deal for some more questions, but do you want to get some sleep? And Liz and John were very keen actually to have me go back with them, sort of, as it were, take me out of the clutches of the police for a little while, at least have a rest before starting the obvious questioning the following morning. I didn't want to have to feel I had to be polite or friendly or diplomatic, and I didn't want to be a burden to friends either. So I said, I'll come to the police station with you now.
As Sean's world falls apart, his friends urge him to rest with them. But rest is an unlikely solace. Instead, he presses to help police and heads to the station.
I do remember when I was away from Liz and John, I did get quite upset in the car going to the police station and shouting and screaming a bit. I do remember having sort of, I suppose you'd call it suicidal thoughts, because I remember saying things like, there must be an easy way out of this. Isn't there a sort of inject? I made stupid statements like, I'm sure there's a quick and easy way that one can be put to sleep with an inject, all that sort of silly stuff. But I guess I was a bit delirious by that stage. And I didn't know these 3 drugs in the car, and so there was nothing sort of holding me back on that journey through the dark lanes of Kent in the early hours of the morning, when I was at my lowest ebb.
I don't know how he's going now.
And the phone rang, and I was asked if I would go to the police station because there'd been a serious incident. And I was told okay,
yeah,
we were driving over to Deal police station, where Dr. Sean Russell is, because his wife and children are missing. They haven't come home since school time, and so I went over there, and I went with Ed Tingley, a policeman who was obviously tasked to speak to Sean and to give as much information as possible about the family's last movements. It was really important to get as much information as we could at that time.
Sean Russell has been told his wife and 2 daughters have died in suspicious circumstances. Officers are now anxious to piece together the tragedy.
I was met by 2 family liaison officers who'd been sort of called from it. the beds in the early hours. That was Ed Tingley and Pauline Smith there, who were to become great friends and supporters.
I just kept thinking, how would I feel if my own family hadn't come home? You know, I'd been so devastated, as he was. He was just in shock, really, I think, is the word.
And they actually said, don't you want to get some sleep? Here's a blanket, here's a cup of coffee, you just, you know, curl up here on a sofa in the police station and try and get a couple of hours of kit before we have to start the old statement taking in the morning, you know.
I hadn't actually had any specific training in family liaison work. In fact, there hadn't even been a course at that time. My actual role was that of a domestic violence officer. And previous to that, I dealt with many incidents of child abuse and child neglect. I was on the family protection unit. So when I went, I didn't really know. I thought maybe I was just there to make the tea and offer the hankies and the sympathy. Of course, it was much later than that that I realised my role was going to change.
Sean begins the long and painful process of mapping out his family life. He needs to find answers to what has happened. 24 hours ago, he had a loving wife and 2 beautiful daughters. Now, everything is gone. Then an officer comes with news.
I was sort of half asleep when I remember Ed coming in and saying there's been a big development.
By this time, the family had been found and taken straight to the hospital. I thought everyone had died, including the family dog.
He said, well, we told you last night that we thought all your family members were dead. But we discovered this morning that one seems to have survived. One of the girls seems to still be alive.
These are the kills that hid in plain sight. Faces of evil, Mondays at 9, on crime and investigation.
"24 hours ago, Dr. Sean Russell had an idyllic family life. Now, his world is shattered. His wife and daughters have seemingly been found dead down a country lane. But in a sudden twist of fate, some news has just brought a ray of light.
Doctor was going about his business. One of the police officers was there, and he noticed some flicker of light, and he called to the doctor.
You're still gonna love me.
Yeah.
And the doctor jumped over and said, no, you're right. This one's still alive. Get her to hospital. It kind of switched me from complete despair, sort of feeling of sort of suicidal ideas. I can't go on, there's no point to go on. Suddenly to having a reason to go on at last. Something to hold on to.
It'd be hard.
Ed coming back into the room and saying that he had this information for Sean. And Sean asking which one was it. And did she have freckles or not? And it was quite heartbreaking really, because he didn't actually know at that time.
Sean now faces a traumatic journey to London to identify which member of his family has survived.
Even through glass doors from outside ICU, and with all the masks and tubes and things, I can see some freckles on the top of the nose over the mask, and I knew that was Joseph.
As Sean tries to come to terms with the fact that his eldest daughter is somehow clinging to life, the news of the tragedy is starting to trickle through to close ones in their village.
I remember being excited by long. I think it's too long to understand.
We all went into a state of shock. When you're a teacher, you're responsible, or you feel ultimately very, very responsible for the children in your care. It was actually a very difficult thing to tell the children, and I found it particularly difficult because two of my elder children were actually involved. My son was in my class, so I was telling my class and I was having to tell my son at the same time. And my daughter was in Megan's class, and we didn't know at the time which of the two children was actually alive.
Bastard! What we'll do, Jack, is we'll jump on a bit of EAFC now.
The media is